Okay, here we are at Chew Valley on another brisk frostbite morning. It's about, what, -1 degree, something like that.
-1, yeah.
And we're just going to have a little look at how we rig a laser in preparation for racing. We've got Steve Smith here, who obviously prepares extremely carefully in terms of the rigging tips, and he's just going to go through that and hopefully give us a few little pointers towards how we might rig our own boats.
So,
Over to you,
a few
Steve.
things to sort of pick up to start with. I think one of the key things for me is to just get your foils in the boat and get your rudder on nice and early. It just means you're less likely to bump into, get your head bumped by a boom once you're rigged. So we're going to do that straight away. So I've got my rudder here. And I've got my tiller, which goes under the traveller, which is nice and tight. See the tension. And into the rudder stock. And the dagger board's in the boat. Now we pre-planned slightly here, so we've got the sail on the mast already, but just two key things with this, and I'm going to show you quickly now. When you're putting your sail on your mast, I like to put the bottom section of the mast down near the bow with the gooseneck pointing outwards, so you know, the mast is less likely to roll off the boat, and that'll make it easier for you. And what we're going to do next is just pop the battens and the burgee into the sail. We've got a fairly new sail here, so you can see it's quite tight.
Yeah. And try and ensure the end is nice and central on that elastic so it doesn't flip out, yeah?
Absolutely right. So there should be a bit of tension on the battens holding them in place.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to put the mast and sail in the boat. And a key top tip here is to try to keep the top of the mast facing into the wind.
Yeah.
Which today is coming from pretty much that way, out from the lake inwards. Right, now that the mast is stepped into the boat, we can put the boom on and attach the sail to the boom. So boom onto the gooseneck. Make sure that you've got a little bit of slack in your outal. You can tell it's cold because these lines are quite crispy. So I've got a little bit of slack here to play with now. Hook in place.
Yeah.
And just to stop the boom from dropping off the gooseneck, which it loves to do with a laser, we're just going to put a little bit of tension on. And I just temporarily tie it off like that. That's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is the clue strap. I store it here to keep it safe. You can also store it on your boom. Different ways of doing it. Inside the primary line. I'm just going to get the elastic for the clue now. And reach down the boom. It goes inside the clue strap. The key thing here is to just try to make sure that the clue strap is nice and tight. So nice, snug and tight onto the boom.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this. I like the simplicity of that. Works, doesn't it?
Nice and simple.
Keep it nice and clean.
So what I'm going to do now is, again, just conscious that the boom might jump off the mast, I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit now that I've done that job.
Okay.
And next up, I've got a compass, so we're going to pop the compass in. So let's take a look at how we fit the compass in, the laser compass, into the boat. Pop the mast retainer through, and the blocks on the plate, on the deck plate. It's a little bit fiddly.
It's cold.
And it's cold. Pop the mast retainer over the.
Nice, simple.
Next up, kicker goes on. Cold fingers.
Yeah.
Just try to make sure it's not twisted. There we go. So that's going to be fine.
And you find those pins with a little flip over thing adequate for the lake conditions, yeah?
They're adequate for the lake conditions.
Yeah.
I think when you're out at sea and safety's perhaps more at stake, something a little bit more robust
Might put a
be more
circlip
fun.
on
Okay,
there,
so now we're going to set the Cunningham. Lots of ways of doing this. This is the way that's sort of written into the laser handbook. Just break that down. You can see that.
Yeah.
Pop it through. And I'll just bring the control line now down through a block here. Trying to make sure I go the right way.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, we're doing a little rigging video.
And now for those of you who are wondering how the compass stays in place, you can now sort of see that when we put the control line through, that's what helps to keep the compass in place so it doesn't fall out of the boat.
Okay, yeah, so the line sufficiently, well, short enough so the block is close to the eye there, and then you've got lots of purchase. Yeah.
Right, so you should be able to let the kicker go, the Cunningham, go right off and let the sail come right up.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is the outal. It's a similar arrangement. There's a block on the mast. It goes down through a block on at the hull and out along. Morning.
Morning.
And we'll just pop the kicker onto the boom.
Okay.
Make sure it's not twisted. And you should, if you've got your kicker set up just right, so when it's in its max off position, so that when the handle hits the cleat,
Yeah.
you should be not quite able to get it in. So just a little dip, in it goes. The merest attention there, not very much at all. Elastic over to stop it from popping out in any waves. If you're seeing the wave situation, that would be happening.
Yeah.
And that's it for the control lines. Okay, perhaps the last thing to do then is to put your main sheet on. And it's important to try and avoid it getting in a tangle before you've even started, because it certainly does look like to in the boat, doesn't it? So I'm going to run it out down the sailing plug. Take it through.
Yeah.
Key thing to remember is
Yeah.
don't forget
Don't forget that.
don't forget that.
Everybody does.
It's around your neck. Just try to make sure when you put it through your block that it's going to get going through the right way for the
Yeah.
ratchet.
Job done.
I'm still trying to keep the twists out. And what I like to do is tie it off with a little stopper knot onto the elastic, the hiking elastic, so you don't have a loose end, and it should make it less likely that you're going to have a tangle.
Yeah.
Again, it's just important to make sure that what you're really after, the thing you're really looking for, is to try to get it so that when you let your controls off,
Yeah.
you can just let them go, and they'll go out to the point, the maximum off point, and that should be where the handle is just touching here, so you don't have any extra weight rope knocking about in the hull. So I'm going to make sure that that's my maximum off. Simple handle. Little bowline. There we go. And for my outhaul, I've got some marks. You can probably see on the. Got a few elastic, a few bits of tape that
Yeah.
marked on. And this, when this block is in line with this tape here, I know it's my maximum off.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and set my handle such that when the handle's in the jaw of the cleat over there,
Yeah.
this
In
is
your
reference
maximum
to there.
position, which is what you're like span and a half or something,
That's
hand
right.
span and a half, or
Hand span and a half. It's
or
pretty
9.5
sensible.
inches from the back end.
From the back end. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I mean, it's a bit of a fiddly guess game.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit more to do. Got to
Yeah.
bring that in, but that's
Yeah.
for another day. But,
Yeah.
but there you go.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve. Ready to go. So, any sort of final things that you do before you go on the water?
I think probably the final thing to say is to just take a moment to just do a simple checklist.
Yeah.
So for me, it's I start at the top, burgee,
Yeah.
battens,
Yeah.
Then I run down along the outer, and I just try to make sure that everything is either inside or outside as it should be,
Yeah.
and that I can pull on my
Yeah.
lines and let them off,
Yeah.
and they'll go out smoothly. I try and avoid any twists. Make sure the kicker is all nice and straight. Compass is set. Tiller is underneath the traveller at
Yeah.
the back. That's the key
Yeah.
one, and that the main sheet is through all of the blocks, including, of course, the important little
Yeah.
hook on the boom
Yeah.
to avoid you getting
Yeah.
it tangled around your neck.
Steve, that's really handy. Thanks very much, and good luck out on the
Pleasure.
water
Thanks,
this morning.
Gary.
Keep warm.
Yeah.